Hi. Hey, this is April from Shows Healing Frequency, and this is the Frequency Hour. And this is where I connect with other like minded holistic practitioners, and we just have a conversation about what is it that you do and how does it affect other people and how can I get in touch. So today I have a friend and a colleague, Miss Jennifer Cross, with
Hello.
Epiphany Introspective Hypnosis, and she is going to tell us all about her why, how she got here, and what she's doing to change the world this year. So, hey, Miss Jennifer.
Hello, Miss April. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program. It's going to be
Yeah.
awesome. I'm very excited. And I'm very excited to talk about what I do because hypnosis, there's a lot of, blurry lines. There's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of misunderstanding about what it really is, mostly due to,
Is this one of them? Yeah.
mostly due to movies.
Yeah.
Actually, they make up all these things, and I've never had anybody tell me their account number.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they,
Um, so what I do is I've been doing hypnosis for quite a while. I started in 2006. I went to hypnotherapy school. And I also have a degree in psychology from the University of Connecticut. And just a little bit of background about what my education is
yeah.
and what I use because I bridge these things. So my degree in psychology, hypnotherapy school. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I also went to Connecticut Center for Massage Therapy, so I'm nationally certified massage therapist, and I'm also a sound therapist. I did biofield tuning education with Eileen Day McCusick, and I work on channeling also, and I that's a process that I think is lasting my entire life for me, and that comes through also vocal channeled vocalizations. So
Yeah.
I bridge psychology with advanced hypnotherapy and spirituality. I'm a very spiritual person with the Reiki and the body, that my education about the body and sound therapy. I use tuning forks all the time, all different kinds of tuning forks in my work, and then I have the channeled vocalizations.
Yeah. So,
And
so like, have you always like what age was you always like spiritual as a child, or like did that just develop through the years, or how did like when did you know that you were that there was another world besides the one that we're presented?
at a very young age, I knew. And I had contact, and I didn't even realize it until I was an adult that what was going on. And not that far not that long ago did I actually realize what it was going on. When I was a kid, I used to get visitations
Mm-hmm.
in my bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and I just forgot about it, to be quite honest.
Wow.
And then it just started showing up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to sit outside and look at the clouds, and I'd be given all sorts of messages all the time. I even during a hypnosis session that I was getting, I had a memory come up about a spacecraft making contact with me, and it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, that's cool. Like I didn't realize that I was having things like that as a child too until I got older. And I remember just one particular memory is laying in bed with my mom. I probably was around 4 or 5 years old, and all of a sudden these balls of light just started showing up in the room, and they looked like bubbles. It wasn't like a flashlight light; it looked like bubbles. Um, and I even remember as a child, like rubbing my eyes really hard because my mind was like, something's wrong with my vision. There's something in my eye.
Yeah.
And then they just filled the room. And I laid there and watched them, didn't feel threatened or anything. And then finally, I guess I got sleepy and drifted off to sleep. It wasn't until I was a teenager watching, some of these shows that were like, we caught these orbs on photographs and in videos. And I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that before,
Yeah.
that made that impact on what it was I actually saw. So I kind of relate to what you say, that sometimes
Yeah.
it's not till later till we connect the dots of what it
Yeah.
actually was.
Yeah. And you also integrate it into your life. So it's just natural for you. Like, for example, I would have intuitive hits all the time. And I didn't think a second thought about it. It was just the way it was,
Yeah.
including even my grandfather dying. He and I were very close.
Mhm.
And I only lived 15 minutes down the road from him at the time. And I just had this overwhelming thought in my head, you need to go see him now, you need to go see him now. And he wasn't doing well, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that he was going to pass. And I get into the room, and all of his children are around the bed, and he was just passing when I got there. And they just looked at me like, what do you do? How did you know to come here?
Yeah.
I don't know how I knew. I just knew.
Yeah.
So um, I've been a spiritual person my whole life. And now I enhance it.
Mhm.
I acknowledge it. I explore with it.
Mhm.
And I really like it a lot. I really
Mhm.
like it a lot. It's time. It's time to remember. It's time for everybody to remember. And I think people are remembering that it's time to remember. And
Yeah.
that's what hypnosis does. It all I do is help people remember. I connect with their soul, and their soul guide the session. And it's a journey of remembrance. And there all sorts of things can come up. There's almost nothing in the way I do my sessions that cannot be addressed. And
Mhm.
by the way, I bridge all of these different modalities that I am a practitioner of and very familiar with.
Mhm.
And I have come up with my own modality called MMRH, multidimensional memory reconnection hypnosis. And that's my little baby. And that's what I use. And that's what I used on you in your session.
Yeah. So like I've had lots of experimentation with me accessing my own self and my own memories. And as growing up as a caring individual, like even as a child, my mother would give me $20 to go buy myself something, and I would come back with gifts for others. I've always been attuned to give than to receive or work on myself. So I find that even with my clients, that tends to be true. Like if you're a mother and you've got children, like you're not in that mindset really to explore and find out who you are. Like you're just in this mode of caring for your family. And I find out when I was doing my spirituality, a lot of women, don't have a spiritual awakening till they're in their 40s, because at that period you've raised your children and you finally got that moment that things are a little bit more quieter. And that's kind of how it happened for me. I got to a point where my kids were grown and they didn't quite need me, and then I was able to go back and think about all those weird things I experienced that I pushed away, didn't have time to think about. And yeah, and I had a session with you actually last week, and it was able to unlock things that I kind of already somewhat knew on my journey. But it's like I explained to other people, like, you can go to a psychic or go to anyone and get a reading, and, you just have to, okay, they're telling you something. But there's something much more personal about the discovery of yourself when you were telling the story.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, you was not telling me the events in which unfolded. It was all coming from me. So it's a little bit harder to say, yeah, that really didn't happen when the story comes from you. So, like you said, most people don't really understand what hypnosis is. And it's not where someone feeds you this and creates this story for you. Um, you're the storyteller. I was the one on the journey. You were just the one asking me to look in that direction.
Yes. Yes. it's very interactive too. People don't realize, they think that it's like somebody, like you said, telling you something and this is the way it is. No, no, it's your soul leading the journey, and I'm just asking the appropriate questions that I know to ask,
Mm-hmm.
and releasing what needs to be released. And sometimes, depending upon what the issue is, um, having the client face uncomfortable issues,
Mm-hmm.
scenarios, conclusions, but kind of saying, well, asking the same question in different ways if I need to get them to acknowledge what's going on, that
Mm-hmm.
I can see and feel and hear.
Yeah.
And you don't lead the client, you let them say it. But if you know what's going on, you know what's going on, and you lead them there.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a discovery. It's that is life changing, really. The discoveries that come out, and I love my work. Every single client is a new journey, and it's exciting, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. Well, I even had my mom do a session with you. She got to a point in her spirituality where she wanted to explore her own self, and she got tired of hearing all my exciting, explorations and what I was finding out about myself. And I guess she was like, "Well, I want to experience this too." And what I really found out from her session that I listened to that you unlocked for her, um, yeah, there was a few things like just simple things like she always couldn't wear necklaces. She cannot wear a shirt that's really tight around her neck. It bothers her. Um, she didn't know why. And she had a regression where she remembered being hung.
Yeah.
And so that I think for her, it gave her that explanation of why does this bother me. Um, and then there was another one that was huge. She always never wanted to leave home. She always wanted to be close to her parents and live in the same area. She got an offer one time to be married to someone she truly loved, but she let him go because he wanted to travel the world and she could not leave her parents. And then in the regression, she was removed from her family several times in several lifetimes, taken and put, cast out of the community and removed. And those repetitions in those lifetimes had seeded that emotion for her. And even though that didn't occur in this lifetime, it was still a seeded fear she had. And so she didn't know, but you helped her go back to those memories and pull those up to heal them and to understand more of what she had been through. And so that was exciting for me to listen and watch her transformation unfold and the emotion that came out of her. She had me in tears at one point because she was emotionally, um, very emotional telling her own story of.
Yeah, you feel it when that's the thing. I take you to a different place, and I call it the fifth dimension,
Mhm,
where it's the collective consciousness. So all information is available to whoever goes there,
mhm.
and you feel it. It's like you're right there,
Yeah,
and you can remove yourself to just see it, but some people, when it's more beneficial for them to feel it sometimes.
envelop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once it's recognized, once it's acknowledged by the soul, then it releases and
Mhm.
it doesn't come back. And so it's kind of a ripple effect. Now it won't affect anybody else ever, in her lineage.
Yeah. Like she had discovered her and my father had had several lifetimes together, and they had repeated the same type of mental abuse or um, I would say maybe betrayal. I think there was a common betrayal there. And it was really amazing to see her even months later come to me and say, the next time I see your father, I feel like I need to express to him that I did not deserve to be treated like that. So I still see her even today, even though that's been months ago when you had your session, making
Yeah.
progress with what she unlocked and what she still like, that's huge. My mother never expressed her emotions or her feelings about how he treated her.
Yeah.
And so for her
Yes.
to just come up and say, you know what? The next time I see him, I am going to tell him this. That is huge. So I just want to thank you. Like, that one session with you has been able not only to help her understand some things, but she continues to understand and unlock things that she had from that session.
A wise person allows themselves to process the whole session. And
Mhm.
that's why it's recorded so that the client can go back and revisit. And I encourage them to, after a period of time, watch it again. After a year, watch it again. What did you miss? What did you learn? What did you see that you didn't before? And process, process, process. And also the nice thing about that is that more questions come up. You know, that layer, it's like the onion, that layer is gone, and maybe one below it's gone, and then more is exposed and it comes to the surface. And then you approach that and you settle those unpaid debts,
Yeah.
whatever is going on. Why is this happening? How come this came up? I've never seen this before. What's this? And it's all in there. Every single bit's in there. Every single memory is in there. Every single feeling is in there. And to release it is magical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Like I said, so I'm originally, I'm a fire sign. So when I'm in transformation, like, it's usually huge and there's a lot going on, and like, I just love it. And then there's also this integration period where things are quiet, and I'm like, okay, where'd the party go? And I have trouble with those periods. And then the magic starts again. And like you said, there's this layer that happens, and then there's this integration period, and then it circles back around, and it's like, all right, you ready to peel back another one, and yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, I'm pushing 50, and I keep telling everyone I feel like I'm in this part of my life where it's the choose your own adventure book. And like, they have those. You read the story, and then you get to a point where it says, okay, if you want to go to move to Spain, turn to page 2. If you want to get married and stay home, turn to page 5, and then you have choices. And
Yeah,
those choices change your story. And that's what my guides have been telling me. Like, 2026 is the choose your own adventure for everyone.
it is. I see it every single day. Everybody's changing. Everybody is noticing, which is the biggest part. They're noticing the changes. And most people, they're kind of in that in between space. They don't really, they may have an idea of where they want to go, but they don't know what. And that's why hypnosis can be such
Mm-hmm.
um,
A game changer.
a game changer, and a a way to remove the block, if you will. It opens up a whole other world to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't just have to be a musician or a writer or somebody trying to make a new discovery and get that block out that you have to open it all up. You can be a housewife, you can be a energetic healer like you.
Yeah. And not even know it.
Yeah, and not know it. You just know there's something there and you just don't know what it is. And it just takes a little bit of adjustment with yourself, with you moving the energies, exposing this, getting rid of that, and then you'd be shocked. You'd be
Yeah.
shocked. Anybody would be shocked. And some people say, well, I don't believe it. I don't believe that it works. I think it's this and that and the other. And I'm like, that's okay. Some people don't believe that they're breathing air.
Some people don't believe they're beautiful, and they are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we do it to ourselves. Like,
Yeah. It's like you don't have to believe it. It is what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I openly talk about my revelations as well. And like, I've been a nurse for 27 years this year. And um always had trouble with self-esteem. This makes me uncomfortable. Like watching myself on video and even like looking at pictures, I've always been self-critical and struggled with self-love and self-worth. Um, but my God's told me to get on here anyway. And so here I am. But there, when you open up and you express that, other people, I see other people saying, oh, me too, like that is so hard for me. And it's so easy for me to listen and be there for others, but it's hard for me to receive that. It's hard for me to think, I'm always there listening for my friends and helping them through their stuff. But like, I feel like your clients are those people that are like me that don't or didn't put that special importance on, hey, I need this too. And I'm here speaking to those people like, do this. This is like the biggest thing that I have ever done for myself. And right now I am so in love with finding out who I am.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And to not only find out who April is in this lifetime, who's killing it and doing things despite her fears and her insecurities, but who I've been before. And like, this is just things I've learned on my journey. I've always been fascinated. Like, I've learned your likes and things that you're drawn to. There's reasons. It's not
Yeah.
just because in this lifetime you like roller skating. You may have been a roller skating champion in another lifetime. Like, there's reasons that you were drawn to things and that things light you up. And as a child, I loved the movie Xanadu. I must have been like 5, but I mean, I remember like in the TV, Olivia Newton-John and the yellow light, and this guy's got a blue light, this guy's coming in green, and like, ooh, And then I go back as an adult and I try to watch this movie because I'm like, I used to love that, and I'm like, first of all, this movie's horrible. Like, I can't watch it as an adult. It's kind of stinks. But then I realized these are auras and these are energies. And now that I see those colors and I see that, I know why, as a 5-year-old child, my soul was like, oh, I know that. And I know what that is. And that's where I fell in love with the movie. It wasn't because it was this awesome movie. It was because it was a memory that I didn't know I had.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the beauty of remembering. And I love helping people remember. And also, one thing that you mentioned was not knowing that you could do something or whatever. That's another thing that people really, really, really want to know before, I ask people what their intentions are before we do a session. And one of the main things is, what are my gifts and talents that I'm unaware of? And people are always shocked. They're like, I do like that. Or, oh, I did think about that before. And they just can't believe that they're as magnificent as they really are.
Yeah.
And we've been dummied down.
Yeah.
And it's time to remove that veil and expose ourselves for who we really are. And hypnosis is like the fast track to that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you do the aftercare, which is basically processing and letting yourself fully remember the extent of how it affects your life today, because that's the goal, is
Yeah.
to affect you today in a positive way. And as long as you allow that to happen and don't go, oh, I can't even think about that anymore. I can't even believe that I can do that,
Mm-hmm.
and just leave it. That's on you. That's on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was exposed and you just left it. So, but if you work with it, you are living proof that stuff happens.
That happens. And like, I think we all get, like, especially for me, when I was working with clients, I get pulled to do things. And at the time, I didn't really know what it was I was doing. It's just like, I just felt like I needed to stand over them. I felt like I needed to, I don't know. And I just kind of allowed it to happen, which, like I said, is awkward at first. But again, when I was a teenager, I ran across this book. I can tell you it was white and had 4 pictures of hand positions on the front. And I was really, and I hate reading. I'm just going to admit it. I'm not a reader. So, but for me to have this book that I couldn't get rid of for a long time, I would look at all these, this is how you do mother, this is how you do father, in the alphabet. And I don't know. I couldn't let it go. And then now when I do energy work, and I have to do my hands a little higher, like when I do work, I found myself doing these hand positions. And it wasn't until I had another practitioner that was trained that saw me working and said, "Oh, you're clearing this and you're doing that and you're sweeping and and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is just something I do." And finding out that they actually had intention and meaning in energy work, it's like I didn't remember, but I did. I was tapping into a lifetime where I did know what that was, and I did have intention behind it, and there is meaning, and it's still there today, even though I kind of run on autopilot. Um, yeah, that was a very empowering moment for me to find out that I wasn't just, some people say they talk with their hands. I just kind of looked at it like I was working with my hands, but I didn't really know what it was I was actually doing for a long time. And now that I have just embraced um, and just let it happen, I continue to work with other practitioners and they continue to tell me like, yeah, you did this. And, because everyone works differently. So they can see things. Sometimes I can't, I can feel things. Sometimes they can't. So it's just really cool to come together with other practitioners that have the same healing intentions, but they work differently. And the magic is just, you can't deny it. It's just, like I said, as much as I love helping other people, for me, helping myself and getting to know the journey of who I am has been able to elevate me to a point where I can help others in so many other ways that I'd never dreamed was possible.
Yeah, yeah. And people that they feel as though they already know what they're doing. They love what they're doing. They love their career.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come they're going to come on blocks right now. They're going to come up with those blocks right now because even they're going to be changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
even when you, like, for musicians, for instance, I don't. Everyone can go to the same school, but they develop their own style, their own sound, the way they hold the guitar. It's kind of similar. Like, yes, you can be taught things, but everyone has their own thing, and they don't realize it's because they're pulling those things back from past experiences.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of change within those people right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get confused. They're going to think, "Oh my God, I had a handle on this for umpteen years and I'm lost. What am I going to do?"
Yeah.
And some people are going to freak and some people are going to go, I need to find a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
I think at that level, most people are going to say, I need to find a solution.
yeah. Well, I think even with your own journey, like, I see and feel like there's been parts on your path where you had to realize there wasn't just one way. And like you mentioned, you developed your own style of even doing hypnosis. And you're tapping into something there that as well. I think that's on a personal level. You're sharing it with other people. And this is 2026, the year of the horse is fixing to, it's just right around the corner and it's going to be on fire. And I even feel like there's a lot of, changes that you're going to be doing to what you offer for people and expanding. And like, it's just such an exciting year to see everyone's growth. And it doesn't mean that have to be a different person. It just means that we're all elevating. We're all emerging into something better, brighter, and bigger. And yeah, Like, I've changed so many things just since the 1st of December. I've launched 14 new teas that I had really, the only thing that I wanted to do was have a tea to include in with my sessions. And the next thing I know, my guides are like, no, you need 7 chakra teas. Okay, got that done. And then it's like, we need one for inflammation, we need one for sleep, we need one for, and I'm like, okay. So it's amazing how once you just take that one step forward, then you're given so much more, and it just starts coming and coming. And like I said, I am very, self-conscious about myself, and they were telling me, hey, you're going to start doing these Zooms. And I'm like, mm-mm. And they were like, yeah, you are. And so here I am, but, and I'm getting more comfortable with it, but I'm just letting everyone know I'm an open book. I struggle with things as well, but, they said this is the year that, you got to come out from behind the bushes and shine your light and reach other people. And that's way more important to me than to sit here with my insecurities.
Yeah. Shedding the skin, the wood snake of 2025, shedding skin. And also I have found out on a personal level, it's the snakes coming out of the grass. They've been exposed, they've played their cards, they've exposed their hand. And that had happened to me. That's happened to a lot of people. And I just say, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for the lesson. And I'm moving on. And the fire horse, it's all about movement and
intensity. Yeah.
And speed also, it's about, things are going to start to speed up even more than they already have.
Yeah.
And
I just posted, I think it was last night, maybe the night before, but they told me, hey, it's the year of the fire horse. You need a tea for that too. So, literally, I just posted that. I've got the recipe, but I haven't even made it. But like, they're telling me this is what's going to go in it, and this is the frequencies that you need. And so, yeah, for me, I've unlocked basically a gang of people that are constantly behind me with clipboards. And they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do next, and I've just surrendered to, okay, because I've learned that, and people I think will resonate with this, when you ignore that little voice inside your head or those people behind you spiritually with clipboards, they will start throwing things at you and making your life very difficult, because they're here to get you on your path and the journey that you set for yourself. And that's what, they're here for, is to help you. And once you start to listen and figure out everything that you designed for yourself, things just, I don't know, there's just this flow. There's this deep breath of just easiness. And you get to a point where it's like, wow, where was this all my life? And
a lot of people don't know how to listen, though, April. Yeah. They just don't know what that feels like. They know that they should, especially subconsciously, but they don't know what it feels like. And there's many different ways, like through the energetic healings, through frequency healing, through hypnosis, that can get introduced to them. Yeah. But once they know what that is, they are much more able and likely to be able to revisit it. And just, that's the goal. Have them do it on their own, if they can, what they can, when they can.
But for me, I struggled. Mm-hmm. I remember I was paying people left and right to tap into my guides for me, because I wanted to know all these things, but I had not figured out yet how to access that.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me, going through someone like you that has the spiritual background, that has been through the work herself, and has also had her hands in more than one modality, you were very transformative for me to feel comfortable with. Because, I don't know, I don't think I would have had the same results if I'd have seen someone for hypnosis that had not had their own spiritual awakening.
We're drawn to the people that we should be with.
Yeah.
that's the way it is,
Yeah.
energetically, just like I was drawn to you
Yeah.
to go and get your modalities, that your frequency
Mhm.
work and your energetic work. And I still wear my bracelets today.
Well, I've got mine on too. It's a lot cheaper than there's frequency devices you can purchase and wear,
Yeah.
but they remind me of like wearing a pacemaker box or something. Like they're I don't know. I just I prefer just to put on a bracelet, put on a necklace, and have different ones for different things. This is for allergies because the sun's out again, and, and sinus, So I put that on today, and then if I was struggling with a migraine or pain, inflammation, anxiety, I just have them labeled on the back, and I know which one I can wear today. So, um, yeah, and we have been all pulled towards each other. But I'm just saying, for those that are looking to explore their spirituality, Jen's going to be your person. She's going to know the steps of how spiritual awakening occur. You start out questioning things. No, there's something there you can't quite put your finger on. There's like the grief process has stages. Jen's going to know what stage you're in. She's going to be able to help you with the appropriate information that at that stage. You don't go from awakening on Tuesday to fully enlightened the next week. It just doesn't happen like that. And I'm still learning. We're all still learning. But I think that she's going to be the experienced person to lead you on that correctly and know what you're going through. And everything that I came up in my session, I believe she had knowledge of what I was talking about and what I was experiencing. And that helped me be able to go a little further and a little further into what I was, discovering.
Yeah, I have had a plethora of different experiences over the years doing this. And I'm telling you, nothing freaks me out. Nothing
Yeah.
has ever freaked me out. I've talked to all different kinds of beings. I talk to light beings. I talk to human beings. I talk to all sorts of. I talk to people who have been trees and dinosaurs, and I believe your mother was a blade of grass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, People choose all different kinds of experiences, and why wouldn't we? If you
Yeah.
can, do it. And um, that's another thing. I don't limit myself there either. Some people they don't want to go there, and I respect that.
Oh, yeah.
You should do what you feel
Yeah. I never,
drawn to.
that's another thing. Like, of course, I don't know if a lot of people know, but I have a business that it's not, I don't just promote me and shows healing frequencies. Like, part of my business is networking with other practitioners and
Yeah.
bringing forward their abilities, their skills, and showcasing them. And I also let them use, my building to see clients if they choose to or need to. And there's no competition. Like, if I have a client and I feel like that I'm working with that would benefit from seeing Jen, I'll do a referral. If I have a client that needs a copper crystal wand for her Reiki work, I'll send her to Lori. It's just really nice to have this networking team of people that you've gotten to know, that you trust, and we all have the same goal. And it's helping others and whatever that looks like. But number one, with everyone I talk to, is like, it's okay wherever you're at in your journey. If you don't want to talk about being the blade of grass, or you don't want to talk about being an Octurian on your spaceship, then that's fine. You can just talk about this lifetime, discover things in this lifetime that you didn't realize that you had issues with. Maybe visit a few Earth incarnations. That's what's so important about Jen's work, is like, she's not in charge. She is just
No.
directing you where you want to go.
Yeah. And I give free consultations.
Okay.
And I can't tell you how many people that they're not quite sure what this is, and I explain it to them. And if it's a good fit, then we both know it. And if it's not, then I say, if they're a little unsure, then they're not sure and they shouldn't come and see me. And
Yes.
if they want to explore, let's just say their galactic selves, but they're not sure about the hypnosis, then I will say something like, well, you need to go see Angel Thomas because that guy spends half his life in the galactic, There's nobody that I know that's more galactic than Angel.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, you have to send people to the people that will help them. And when you do that, what comes around goes around. So
Yeah.
if the goal is the goal with everybody, then it doesn't matter. It's the client.
Yeah.
We're here to help the client, and that's it. That's
Well,
it.
I had one last week, for example, that she was telling me that she's chewing the inside of her face off at night. Like she's got so much tension,
Oh,
and yeah, I can do some frequencies for that, help with stress and anxiety, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, and I did, I gave her your card and I'm like, I feel like there's a deep seated trauma or there's something there, especially when it's, on one side of the body. There's this whole energetic thing about whether it's feminine or masculine or current lifetime, past lifetime. There's
yeah,
clues to where we're hurting and where we're storing these
yeah,
pains and these issues. And I told her, I said, I can do all these things for you, but sometimes it's kind of like I described, like having a pimple, and I can put medicine on top of the zit all day long. But until you go and you get out the core and you figure out what is actually causing the issue, um, I'm not going to be able to completely get rid of that for you. So then I would, always suggest them, hey, there's something deep seated here. You need to go and have a session, see if Jen can walk with you and figure out why you're doing this.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is like, that's how it works. I have one lady who um, has constant trouble with one of her, her feet. And she was told, of course, this is from another hypnosis or another healer, that she was ran over by a carriage in a past lifetime. And it's like, no matter what she does, she still has this trauma with this foot and she's issues with this foot. And it keeps coming back up. But then this lifetime, she also struggles with being ran over in another sense, feeling,
Yeah.
not good enough, feeling like she has to serve everyone. And in this past life that she was connected to, she was a servant that got injured. And she tried her best to hide her injury because she felt like those people would get rid of her if she couldn't perform her duties.
Yeah.
And that's transferred over into her life today, where she sacrifices herself every day for her family because she still feels like if she gives in to her injury, that she's going to be replaced.
Yeah. One thing that, I mean, it sounds like she went to the right type of therapist for her issues. And I don't know this person and I don't want to know this
No.
therapist, I don't want to use any names, but a lot of the times, what another hypnotherapist will not do that is so important, in my opinion, is to have the client forgive themselves and forgive the situation and whoever was involved in the situation. And that will a lot of times release that kept energy, the
Mm-hmm.
energy that's in the soul that carries over to each incarnation until it's released. And it also, by the way, it's carried over, like if it's a mother, it's carried over to her children a lot of the times. Not all the time, not everything, but depending upon what it is, that energy is carried over to her offspring
Yeah.
and the male too, the father.
Yeah.
So it becomes like a lineage thing.
Yeah. And that's even scientifically proven now that there is a set of which DNA is just information um, that's passed on just in the mother line, in the mitochondria. And so that's even scientifically proven that there is this generational heritage, not just that you're getting your grandmother's hair color or your mother's complexion, you're also passing down that emotional seed of trauma of things that was not resolved.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. Exactly. And we are. bodies of energy, aren't we? And frequency is energy. And so if you change that, if you release it, it's gone and it ripples. Like I said, it'll affect everybody
Yeah.
and everything if you think about it. If we are all connected, all one, then it affects everything. The happier I am, the happier the universe is.
Yes. And what more a beautiful gift that I can give not only myself, but let's say that I can heal and work on my self-esteem and whatever a lifetime's caused me to feel not good enough. Not only can I release that for myself, but release that for my daughter and her daughter and her daughter.
Right,
And
right,
yeah, that's beautiful.
right, right. Exactly.
There's
It,
also
it's
there's
it's
also
so far reaching. People don't understand how far reaching it really is. And it's not just hypnosis that does this, by the way. You
no,
know, anything that releases that energy, it is so major, so
yeah.
major.
Well,
That's why we're so remarkable.
there's even a picture in my nursing brain that comes up where I remember seeing a picture of a woman and it would like zoom into her eggs and her ovaries and be like, well, when the moment she was born as a baby, she was carrying her eggs for her daughter and that into and then she had her daughter and her daughter and her because I remember seeing that even in a scientific textbook for nursing trying to say that a 5-year old or let's just say a 16-year-old woman is carrying her whole generation really inside of her.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And you're already born with it, the energy.
Oh yeah. And
Even, even if it's not
yeah. But the
physiological
cell
yet.
wise,
Yeah.
you've got the energy, but then cell wise, with the scientific view, it was saying the same thing.
Yes. Yes. So we are amazing and we just have to remember.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. You have to remember. Somehow you have to remember whatever resonates with you. I encourage everybody, take up something, make yourself remember, encourage yourself to remember. Don't think that you can't
Yeah.
because your intentions are everything.
Mm-hmm. And once I did start connecting, and I just call it my likes, things that I have always been drawn to in my lifetime. Once I started figuring out that there was a past story to that, along with the things that I was afraid of. For instance, my grandmother never had an episode where she had a near drowning or she was caught in a cave collapse. But my mother always said, she was always afraid to go into a movie theater, go underground, even a basement. She didn't like it. And I had a storm shelter, and we always joked around about having to wheel her wheelchair to the shelter and just dump her in because she wasn't going. And it always confused me like, well, why, if she's never had something in this lifetime happen to have that fear, why was she afraid of drowning if she never? I was looking for the story, like, well, what happened to make her afraid of this? And no one ever had one. And so things like that just come up with me naturally. It made so much sense when I found out that there is a story.
Yeah.
You just need to go find out what that story is. And like I said, with my mother especially, there was things that came out in her regression that made so much sense on why she had likes and dislikes in this lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody, everybody. And it's wonderful when, even if it's an uncomfortable or sad or tragic story,
Yeah,
not all stories are happy. Even if it is one of those stories, the end result is so freeing and gratifying.
yeah,
And your soul is so amazing. It's like once you identify it and forgive, it's gone. It's literally gone. It's just a knowing that it was there.
yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what I said about her. It was hard for me to listen to the emotion in her voice when she was recounting some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, afterwards, like I don't see that anymore in her. I don't see that sadness that I think that I always saw that she carried quietly and I didn't know where it was coming from. And I don't think she did either, but it's so empowering to, like I said, to do this, to find out who you are, to go on your journey. And no one creates the story for you. You're unfolding the story within yourself.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and you're just the driver. You're
Yep.
look at it like you're the Uber driver. They get in the car and you're just asking them which way you want to go. You want to go left or right, down the hill, and you're kind of helping steering their journey. And I just think that's beautiful. And just that alone, not to mention all the other things that you bring to the table with your own experiences and your visitations and your spiritual awakening, and you're not done. Like, I feel like this creative energy for you too, that there's more things coming from Jennifer Cross, and I am very interested to see your journey unfold this year too.
Yes, it really has. Like even 2025, I had a few more things unfold for me. One thing that I really love is I do custom meditations also.
Yeah.
I write them for people, whatever they need. I just ask them a few questions and then I write it up, record it, and send it to them.
Mhm.
And I love doing that. And I never did that before. I just would, I just started doing it.
Yeah.
So, custom meditations. They are something that somebody can take with them and use whenever they want. So,
Yeah.
um,
So
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's going to happen either. What's going to come out of this year because it's an exciting year.
yeah. So like with custom meditations, how well does that work to like listen to your meditations while you sleep?
Well, I have only done a couple for sleep. The
No, I
last
mean, when people sleep at night, does that I've just always wondered how successful it is to listen to things while you're sleeping in that
Oh,
subconscious.
while you're sleeping, it is it's very good because you're in a whole different space, headspace. Your conscious self is not taking over.
Oh, okay.
It kind of steps aside.
So it's
So
almost like peeling back some layers and letting that work on a different level than listening to those meditations while you're in your day.
yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
'Cause I
So
was, yeah, I
it's
was
good.
curious about that myself because I had, as a busy person, we try to figure out, oh, when am I going to have time for this? I don't have any enough hours in the day, but it was my understanding as well that it may be more beneficial to actually do that, put in some earbuds at night and let stuff play while you're actually sleeping and
Yes,
doing your work. So yeah.
yes, yes. I mean, your body's working
Hmm.
and your
I was
consciousness is just not awake doing your paperwork,
okay.
kind of, you get into theta or whatever state. You work your way down, to calm down.
Yeah.
Beta, you just work your way down to sleeping. And but you're still there, you're still listening.
Hmm.
You can hear if let's the tornado alarm goes off, you certainly wake up pretty quickly, don't you?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying for someone like me, that would be my instant gut back feeling is, oh, I don't have time for that. So that would be that I would have time for that to put on
yeah,
something while I sleep, and that's kind of cool because I've always kind of been like I need an extra clone of myself, so I'd feel like I was actually doing some work while I'm sleeping too. So yeah, I like that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, do you want to share anything else or tell us how we can get a hold of you or what else
sure.
would you like to talk about?
Um, just how to get a hold of me, I think. As I mentioned, I do free consultations and you can email me and my email address is Jennifer, Jennifer, cross, Cross, Hypno, at Gmail. And you can also visit my Facebook account and on there, my personal one, and on there, I have samples, snippets of my work. You can see lots of different hypnosis sessions on there to see some of the things that I do. Now, keep in mind that A lot of them are very, very personal traumas, and I can't post that kind of stuff. So it's more exploratory stuff on there, but you could still get the flavor of my work and what goes on. And we can post the Facebook link um,
in the video.
on, in the video because, that's a whole different thing. I have it somewhere. Yeah, it's Epiphany Introspective Hypnosis, www.facebook, but
Okay,
we'll put it in the bottom.
I'll put all that on here.
Yeah.
But I just know, like I said, I've networked and met all kinds of healers and individuals, and I just have a ton of respect for you and what you're trying to do. And like you blow me away. Like you've got the education, and you've also got the real life experience to go with it. And I mean, I just don't think that if I was shopping for a hypnotherapist that they would bring everything to the table like you do. So I'm just encouraging everyone to, choose your own adventure this year. You are the book, and Jen's going to take you to that page that says, do you want to, you want to go into the jungle and you want to explore that lifetime, or do you want to get on that rocket ship and see where that takes you? And yeah, you're worth that. You're worth putting that exploration into yourself and seeing this time next year having your own story to share about transformation and you finding out who you really are. And maybe I'll be interviewing you next time. So it's just so exciting, coming out of that lifestyle of working my 9 to 5 and taking care of my family. Don't get me wrong, those were great years, but I don't know. This whole, people talked about your midlife crisis. This is great. This is the best midlife crisis I could come up with. And I'm saying that jokingly, like, because I've always heard about it. And I know that they were talking about something totally different. But yeah, I mean, I'll take it if this is my midlife crisis, turning around and looking, really walking through the mirror, not just
Yeah.
looking into the mirror, but walking through that mirror and shaking my own hand and saying, tell me more about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you very much, April.
You're welcome. And like I said, I have a feeling I'll do a follow-up video sometime because I definitely feel like there's some creative energy going on, and there's going to be a lot more things that you're going to be offering that you probably don't even know about, like me, because
Probably not. Yeah.
just in the last 3 months, I have created so much and started so much that I did not have on my calendar. So that's the kind of energy that we're talking about is,
Yes.
and it's exciting.
It's so exciting. As long as you're open to the change, it's going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, and I also know what it's like to say, nope, not doing it. And then all of a sudden, I started having, a quick example, I was really comfortable working from home, like putting on my pajamas, sitting on the couch, watching, YouTube all day while I did my work. Yeah, that was great. And then all of a sudden, I started having trouble at work. Like my work wasn't good enough. And I just started having weird issues. And it just didn't make sense. But my guides pretty much were telling me, okay, that's over. It's time for you to get out from the couch, brush the crumbs off. And it's time to, we're going into a new season and you can't hide from behind the computer anymore. You've got to make yourself visible to your community. And my first reaction was no. But that's the best thing that has happened is me, me trusting that. And it was at the point where it was like, you're going to go back to public working or, we're going to get you fired. So it's your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take door B.
Yeah. At that point, they were trying to tell me I had a choice, but then, it was however I wanted it to unfold. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I finally listened, and I am so grateful that I did. Um, and I don't have that want to just sit on the couch anymore and let things just be. Like yeah, I want to be back out here making changes, meeting people, changing lives. Um, yeah, like there's this creative zest energy, and it's not just me feeling it anymore.
No,
Everyone's hungry for it. So,
it's a whole different kind of excitement.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's beautiful.
well, all right. Well, we'll close up, and like I said, I'm sure there'll be another video down the line to discuss what it is that we both have went and done, and now we're sharing with everyone. So, thank you for your time, and
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to you again soon.